So you've got yourself a MakerBot Sketch printer. I'm going to take you through how to actually design something to put on there. Even though we're printing a lot of face shields right now, I think this is kind of a cool thing to show you. I'm going to use Tinkercad. It is a free software that's made by Autodesk, the same company that makes all of our softwares that we use at school, Fusion, Inventor, and Revit. So when you Google search it, this is what you get. I did not click. I don't believe you need to click join now. I believe you can click sign in and sign in with Google. And this is what I've been using to do this. As you can see, I've got a couple of different designs in here. They're just random things I used as demonstration purposes. So I'll go ahead and create a new design. There's all kinds of stuff in here. There's circuits, there's code blocks, there's actually an Arduino simulator in here for robotics. I haven't played with it too much, but I'm just going to take you through some basic modeling. On your left side over here is your view cube, which allows you to move this work plane around in different areas to kind of see what you've got going on. So a top view and a right side view and all those. On the right side over here is what we're going to actually be designing. I'm going to start with basic shapes, even though you could do text and numbers and there's all kinds of different stuff. I'll let you play around with this. Bottom line is you can't really break it. If you come up with a design that you don't really like, start over. So I'm going to grab a box. I just clicked it once, and I'm going to move my mouse over here and drop it. Click to drop. Default units here are millimeters, so if you're trying to create something a certain size, just be aware of that. For me and what I'm doing, I'm going to just play around here, make it look sort of decent. I'll make that smaller. This little red arrow here, or excuse me, this little, yeah, it's red when you touch it. This little arrow right here allows you to lift something up off the table. You don't want to do that at first because when you go to 3D print it, if you go to 3D print it, it will 3D print off the bed. So if I lift this up 7 millimeters and then try to 3D print it, what will happen is it will start to print 7 millimeters above the printer surface. And that's not really what I want because it won't work. You'll just get a glob of plastic. So that looks okay. Now let's add another little shape here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this here. I'm going to just rotate around a little bit and lift that up 4 millimeters and grab this and bring it. Oh, I got to move it up a little bit more. You want to make really sure that these things are actually really connected. Yeah, see there's a little space there. That's not gonna print nicely if I wanted to print this. So I'm just gonna move it down so I know it's touching. I'm also going to move it over a little bit. It's not a true top view. It's got a little bit of a perspective to it, but I think you understand. So if I wanted this to be a solid cylinder, that would be good. If I wanted to cut a hole, I would simply choose hole. I might have to move it down a little bit. And you can see that it would make a hole in this block here. All right. So if you have more than one piece for your 3D print, you need to select everything and come up here and group everything together. Now you can see that what I've done is I've made a blind hole. So it goes partway through, but not all the way through. All right, so here's my little block. It's been named Spectacular Migelo. I don't know what that means. That's the default name that they give these things. So I think if we're ready to print now, I mean, you can play with this and, add text to it, where's text? Text and numbers. You can add your name on this. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. You can actually, scale them. You can move them left and right. You can angle these things on the build tray. You can do all kinds of fun stuff with this. I'm going to go and click export, because what I want to do is I want to save this file so that my 3D printer can read it. So I'm going to click STL, and you'll see there it goes down into my little downloads folder. I'm going to hit pause now and get MakerBot print started. So now you see that I've got MakerBot print started, and I'm using the sketch, and I've got it offline because I'm not connected to any Ethernet or anything like that. What I'm actually doing here is going to take and insert that new model, which should be here. So there it is. It's the original size that I drew it on the Tinkercad program. And if I want to move it around in the build tray, I can. If I want to make copies of it, make more, I can. This is the user interface that the 3D printer will read. So before I print anything, I like to see how much material I'm going to use and how long this is going to take. I'm going to click this button up here called Estimates and Print Preview. This is another one of those programs that's very, very simple. You can't really break it. Worst comes down to it. Close it down, start over again. You can't accidentally send something to a printer if it's not connected to a printer, if you're on this offline mode. So it just gives you sort of a preview of all the different layers that the printer is going to use to make this part. What it just did in that minute or two while I was talking is it took this object and it sliced it into little bitty layers. Each layer that the 3D printer, so if I play the animation, you'll see each time a layer gets highlighted bright green is the 3D printer going around and squirting plastic out and building this thing up from the bottom. Matter of fact, if I look at it from the side, you can see it getting taller. Okay, so you get to preview everything. I can see over here that I don't need very much material, about 5 grams of material, and this will take 35 minutes to print. If I was to start it right now, it would be done at 3:32 p.m. So at this point, I'm going to click export, go find somewhere to export this. Usually I put a flash drive in the computer and I put it on the flash drive. I don't have one right now. It's being used for printing right now. So I would export this and put it on the flash drive, and then I would go over to the machine with the flash drive and start my print from there. So I hope this helps some of you. Good luck with it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments.